Good morning, good day, and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all races, ages, genders, sexual orientations, religions, etc. We have reached Halloween week, and I hope this one is a good one for you. This topic of discussion is one I chose to talk about over another that I was thinking about that I will do sometime in the future, because this is one that I envision talking about. Maybe not this particular person, but the broad term that is mentioned in the title of this video. The word I'm referring to is witch. Many may think about the Wicked Witch of the West, the Blair Witch, hell, even the witches in Harry Potter. Regardless, all of them are examples of people who are associated with a person who possesses magical powers to either help or harm others. The topic of discussion today is one of the latter. She is an entity who conjures feelings of fear and unrelenting passion for torment, especially towards a specific family member, which we will get into later. I'm talking, of course, about the Bell Witch. One may ask, who is the Bell Witch? And what did she do? Well, the story begins with a man named John Bell. Bell was born sometime in 1750 in Edgecombe, North Carolina. He was an apprentice barrel maker during his younger years and later pursued a career in farming. He would marry his wife, Lucy, in 1782 when he was 32 and she was between the ages of 12 and 17. The two would lead a successful life over the next 8 years and were among the area's most successful planters. The two would share 9 children together, including one named Richard. In the winter of 1804 to 1805, Bell and his family moved throughout the mountains of North Carolina and East Tennessee. They would eventually be led to an area called Red River and settled in the northwest section, which is known today as Adams, Tennessee. In 1817, Bell purchased land and a large home for his family. The family quickly made friends and gained mass recognition in the community. Bell acquired more land and cleared numerous fields over the next several years. With the family moved in, they were ready for the next chapter of their lives in what was anticipated to be full of love and life, or so they thought. One day in 1817, Bell was inspecting his cornfield. Suddenly, he encountered a strange-looking animal sitting in the middle of a corn row. He saw what was described as an animal with the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit. Shocked by the appearance of the animal, Bell shot at it several times to no effect. The animal would vanish soon afterwards. Thinking nothing more of the incident, Bell will return to his duties. Later that evening, the family were finishing their dinner. Suddenly, they began hearing sounds of beating on the outside walls of their house. Though they would investigate the sounds, they found nothing that caused the beating. Each night, the sounds would return and increase in force with the same empty results. This was bad for the family, but the strange occurrences were only just beginning. The children began waking up frightened and complaining of the sound of rats gnawing at their bedposts. Even worse, they would further begin complaining of having their bed covers pulled and their pillows tossed on the floor by something they could not see. As time went on, the family began hearing even stranger noises. This time, it sounded like the faint voice of a feeble old woman, crying or singing hymns. The encounters escalated to the point where the Bell's youngest daughter, Betsy, was being attacked. She wasn't attacked mentally or emotionally. She was being attacked physically. The entity pulled her hair and slapped her, often leaving visible prints on her face and body for days at a time. It got so bad, at times, the entity left her unconscious. Bell himself would also be subject to the physical attack of the entity. It would otherwise have simple, yet eerie conversations with other family members, oftentimes throwing harsh insults at John. One member of the family asked who or what the entity was, to which it responded, "I am a spirit. I once was very happy, but I have been disturbed and made unhappy." The disturbances escalated over the next year. Having held strong for so long, Bell would express his troubles to his closest friend and neighbor, James Johnson. He, along with his wife, would spend the night at the Bell home to substantiate the claim. He got what he was looking for, as they were subjected to the same terrifying experiences as the Bells. After having his bed covers repeatedly ripped off and being slapped, Johnson sprang out of his bed, asking, "I ask you, in the name of the Lord, God, who are you and what do you want?" The answer to his question was absolute silence. The remainder of the night, they would not have any more encounters with the entity. The couple would leave the next morning. In 1819, word got out of the disturbing occurrences at the Bell family home. In fact, it reached so far that in Nashville, Tennessee, General Andrew Jackson took interest. Two of Bell's sons, John Jr. and Jesse, served under Jackson during the War of 1812 in the Battle of New Orleans. Jackson and an entourage of men came to the Bell home, only to be stalled by a faulty wagon that the horses tried to pull. Jackson would exclaim that it was the work of the witch. Hearing his words, the witch would tell him that he and his men could proceed, and she would see them later that evening. Several hours passed after the men entered the home. The eager men wanted to see if the rumors were true of the entity that haunted the Bell home. One of the entourage members went as far as threatening the entity with a pistol to harm the spirit. He would soon regret his words, as the spirit twisted parts of his body and battered him to the point where he could barely stand to run out the house. The entity identified one more fraud on the premises and would be revealed later that evening. Jackson's men, frightened by the sight of one of their own being beaten by an unseen force, begged the general to leave the home, but Jackson insisted they stay so he could be told who the fraud was. That night, they slept in their tents near the home, but by midday the next day, Jackson had a change of heart and his men departed the Bell home, with his final words to them being, "I'd rather fight the entire British army than deal with the Bell Witch." More time would pass with the witch continuing her torment of the family, specifically John as he grew older, battling a neurological disorder. It even got so far as the witch taking off Bell's shoes and slapping him with it as he was having seizures. Bell would eventually succumb to the witch's torment and he would pass away on the 19th of December, 1820, at the age of 70. It is said that the spirit gave him a form of liquid poison that led to his death. The family would hold a funeral for John months later. The witch is said to have laughed at her work during the funeral. Following the funeral, the spirit would antagonize the family on a lesser basis, and eventually, not at all. thank you for watching this video. This video concludes my Halloween series. I gotta say, this one was a great way to end it. Maybe I'll do it again next year. Y'all let me know. I've also got to say, this was probably the scariest one I've done due to its real life connections and disturbing nature. I will say though, it sucks that someone has to be essentially tortured to death, especially by something they can't see. Not exactly a pleasant way to go. It's even scarier to think about that while being tortured by something you can't physically retaliate against, that desperately wants you to perish, and the only way for you to save your family is for you to end yourself. If that's not an example of pure hatred, I do not know what is. On a lighter note, this video is released on my birthday, so please drop a happy birthday for me. Other than that, I thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Make good decisions. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And happy Halloween.